Okay.
There you
Thanks for
go.
reminding me. Yeah. Okay. So great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you.
So, what's the weather like over there at the moment?
Pretty sunny, some clouds.
Great. A normal day.
What
Yeah.
about for you?
Yeah. Well, we got the same sort of weather. Cool weather. Um, so just a little bit about myself. Yeah. My name's David Stanley, and I started a an academy called the Universal Comprehension Academy. I started that in 2019. Yeah,
Hmm.
which and it runs just one course, which is called the Spiritual Journey. Yes, and it started off um, in line with the globe. Yes, and it wasn't until sort of 2020, yeah, when I had sort of 2020 vision, you could say, that things I started to consider things differently, and so in on the 6th, I believe it was the 6th of June, 2021, Eureka. Um, I I saw the world as a flat topographical plane. Yes, and I've been very interested in this subject ever since. Now I have a co-host, if you like. He's a man of about 78, and he doesn't like the idea of the flat Earth at all. But he's open to looking at it from a spiritual, scientific point of view. So just to say that that's who I am and where I am, and I'm based in Portsmouth, England at the moment, Southsea. So if you could give just a quick introduction of yourself and like a 2 minute introduction for your project, that would be great.
Sure. So my name is Will Duffy. I currently pastor a small church outside of Denver, Colorado. And back in 2021 is when I was exposed to flat Earth for the first time. I did not realize flat Earth was a thing. And I quickly found out not only is it a thing, it's growing rapidly. People are converting, for lack of a better word, to flat Earth from countries all over the world. So that was interesting to me. A lot of people probably just ignore it, make fun of it, mock it, but I took it seriously. And I actually looked into it when I was shown information and evidence that was contrary to what I believe about the universe. I didn't just, brush it off. I actually looked into it. I found answers that were satisfactory for me to continue to believe that we live on a globe. But I noticed that what was satisfactory and convincing for me is not really convincing for most, if not all, flat earthers out there. So I thought, okay, we're trying to solve something that I would consider elementary. Determining the shape of an object is something that you start working on with children, when they're 4 and 5 years old. And it's not like we're talking about some sort of a microscopic object that we're trying to determine the shape of here that would require fancy equipment. It's the largest object known to man, the Earth. So I thought for sure somebody, me, could come up with an experiment to end the debate, to settle the debate once and for all. So it took me a very long time going through a lot of iterations, a lot of ideas, a lot of research. And I came up with the final experiment, which is going to Antarctica during the southern summer, which would be this December, to see whether or not there's a 24-hour sun. And I got this idea from the flat earth side because they're adamant that there cannot be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica on that map behind you on the wall. So we are going to Antarctica this December to see what the sun does, to have eyewitness testimony from multiple people of what the sun does, and to document on video what the sun does. And then we will all know once and for all the true shape of the earth.
Right. Okay, so that's an amazing project. Yeah, I find that right from the very start. I find that very, very interesting. I was a bit dubious about you for a week or two, but that wore off. Yeah, you charmed me with your smile, let's say. Yes. Um, and the more I heard what you were saying, I thought, well, hang on, he's definitely got something here. And like my friend who's 78 and he's on the church council, yes. So he's a very religious man, yeah. Like him, you won't change your position about the Earth being a globe, yes.
Hold on. Did I hear you right that you said I won't change my position?
At the moment, until you have the proof that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So my mind will be 100% made up in December once I know what the sun does in Antarctica.
Right. Okay. So that's what I understand, and I understand you've got a good basic level of how the flat Earth works. Yes.
Well, I have a good basic understanding of a different bunch of flat Earth ideas. I'm noticing there's a lot of disagreement among flat earthers. And so I'm trying to stay abreast of all the different models and ideas, which is not easy, but I do feel like I understand it, at least understand it enough to not strawman or misrepresent it.
Right. Well, because I've been following two different models for at least a year. Yes. Um, and I call them two different levels of the flat Earth. What one level is the level that David Weiss will give you, yes, and that's very strong and it even wits it. It's very academic and it's very precise and it's very correct. However, there's another level which I call the higher level, um, which is a bit different. It's not so much founded on science and understanding and all those things of an academic nature, but it's founded on studying the Bible, studying the texts, and understanding what the text of the Bible says about the flat Earth. Yeah, all the hidden meanings in the text encoded in the Bible, and not only that, from things like the Iliad and ancient different writings and mythologies. Yes.
Mm.
So we've got all of this written in, and the man who promotes this idea has his own understanding based on his own research, and he sees things in a different way. He sees the Earth as a ring magnet, let's say, a ring magnet, and it's really quite profound and deep. And I asked him the other day. I said, "What do you think? Do you think that there's going to be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?" And he said, "Of course, yes."
Mhm.
So I think Jaren is now in contact with that guy, yes, and he'll be doing a video later today with that guy with his understanding. So, like I said, it's a different level, and you like to say that the flat Earth in the flat Earth model, and I've noted it down that the flat Earth model there isn't a sun in the South Pole, yes, in the south. But
There's
There's one guy that says there is. So actually, if there is a sun, a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, we could consider that as a proof of flat Earth.
okay, so here's my question for you. The
Yeah,
man you're talking about, his name is Lindsay. Do you understand his model?
I have a a decent understanding of it, yes, but most of it goes over my head. I must admit.
Okay, so I don't think you should say that a 24-hour sun would be proof of flat Earth. I think you should say that Lindsay claims it would be proof of flat Earth unless you can defend it, because I don't think Lindsay himself can defend it. So I don't think you could if you
Well,
don't understand it.
yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, we've got 6 months to to thrash it out, so to speak, and it'll be interesting to see what Lindsay comes up with and how Jaren and Whitsitt build that into their own model, if you
Yeah,
like.
here's the problem. Here's the problem with Lindsay's model is he just draws a circle on a whiteboard. He doesn't put any continents on it, like the Gleason map behind you. And so when he draws a 24-hour sun in Antarctica on his whiteboard, it's only in one location. So my
Yeah.
question for Lindsay or you would be, what is the location you're circling, creating a 24-hour sun over? And I don't think either of you would have an answer for that.
I'm not too sure if I understand what you're trying to say. What is the
So
location?
he draws Antarctica on his whiteboard as a circle,
Yes.
and then he draws a circle of the path of the 24-hour sun in one spot on Antarctica. Why is he picking that one spot to have a 24-hour sun? What about the rest of Antarctica? Because the globe model says that all of Antarctica far enough south has a 24-hour sun.
Yeah.
So that, huh?
I don't understand completely his model. I've watched a few videos on what he's trying to say, um, and he will be putting it over in the next 6 months exactly how to understand it. So from his perspective, and I'm not saying he's right, but I'm saying
Right.
it's an interesting perspective, and you can't really exclude what he's trying to say. Not at this point.
Well, here's what I can do, and I've done, is I have made a position that no one has refuted so far, which is I can't find a single flat earther that ever said there was a 24-hour sun in Antarctica prior to the final experiment. So that right there is fascinating to me. So I asked Lindsay, are you on record ever saying there was a 24-hour sun prior to 2024? And he would not give me a direct answer, which means I think the answer is no. So here's the question for you, David, to consider and ponder, which is, why is Lindsay changing his position that he's never held to? Why is he all of a sudden saying there's going to be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica when no one said that? Not a single flat earther has said that in history. And before we go to Antarctica, what's the point in that?
Well, he's been working on different aspects of the flat Earth, many different aspects, many different facets, trying to explain many different things. And I've been looking at what he's produced for the past year at least, and it's a lot of stuff. And so, when I asked him about I made a comment. Yeah, so it's recorded on one of his videos. When I made a comment to him, I asked him straight away, and I asked him, "Is there a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?" Now he was on a different wavelength. He was dealing with something else, with a different aspect, with a different group, and he always replies to me for some reason. Yeah, he's pretty good with me. We get on quite well. And immediately he came back to me and said, "Yes, of course there is." Yeah,
Yeah.
and so that was his immediate response. So
Yes, the best follow-up question for you to ask him is, where is there a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
yeah,
Because Antarctica in the flat Earth model is
I did.
massive.
Yeah, I did. I did ask
So
him. I said, would there be um, a uh, a 24-hour sun if I was in Murdoch? Would I see a Murdoch? Would I see a 24-hour sun? And this is on his video too. And he said, no, I wouldn't.
hmm.
And so right, so I then I'm not sure because he was dealing with other things. His mind was elsewhere, so I had to make it very clear what I was asking of him. And so I asked him once again, and I said, "Well, look, when Jaron goes down to Antarctica, will he see a 20 the sun make a circle around his head, 24-hour sun?" And what was his response? What do you think?
It sounds like he said yes.
He said, yes, he will. He even included you in the response. Yeah.
And so my question for him, which I haven't asked him, is this: if we move the location of the final experiment
Yeah.
across the entire world, all on the flat Earth map, all the way to the other side. So instead of south of South America, we're now south of Australia. My question for Lindsay is this: will we see a 24-hour sun there? If he says yes, the follow-up would be, while there's a 24-hour sun here, will there also be a 24-hour sun here? And the only way that that can happen is if there's two suns. If he says no, then it will be interesting to explain why, because we
Yeah.
could try to switch this up and go to a different location.
Well, I'm very patient about these things. I don't jump to conclusions. I like to wait until I get a good response and a good answer. So all I can say is we'll have to wait and see. And this is what I say about people who talk about your experiment and say it's a load of bunk and whatever. I said, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of people that think there's a lot of danger going down there. And I asked Lindsay if he would go down there, and he said yes, he would, but you'd have to take out you'd have to insure his life for what was it, £10 million, yeah, just in case you know there were problems. So his family would actually get some benefit. So
Does that sound rational to you, that people are afraid to go to Antarctica with a tour company that takes people every year?
well, it depends. It depends because if like flat earthers think there is a conspiracy, then it could be dangerous. So I think he's naturally cautious. Um,
Mhm.
I'd throw caution to the wind if I could get a sponsor. I'd go too, and I mean I wouldn't say I'm fit as a fiddle, but I'm quite fit, so I wouldn't have a problem down there. I don't think. Yeah, and well, it's only 5 days. Yeah.
I think it would be terrible, but it would be like really good evidence of flat Earth if something happened on this trip, right? That's number one. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
If
number
something
and
comes forward,
number two is not a single flat earther has been to Antarctica. That's stunning. So why is the question? Because you don't have to tell them you're a flat earther. You don't have to make a big deal about it like I am with the final experiment. You can just go and document the sun.
you,
See, flat
you
earthers say there's no video of the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, which is false. But they
can,
don't point out, which is more telling, which is why there's not a single video of a setting sun in Antarctica when there should be a 24-hour sun in the globe model. That single video alone would destroy the globe model.
well, yeah, like I say, we haven't had Lindsay's point of view. And as for people not going to Antarctica, it's very expensive, and a lot of the flat earthers are simply struggling to pay their bills. Yeah,
Hmm, that could be.
having a luxury holiday somewhere, or an expensive Antarctic trip is like out of the question. Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
it would be for the cause, right? The flat earth community,
yeah.
if
Look,
they're serious about this, if they really believe
yeah,
it,
yeah,
they should
like
all pitch in a little bit and make this happen, you know?
yeah, like you say, there's the Flat Earth millionaire. Why hasn't he sponsored it?
Yeah, he he has not communicated with me yet. I was using an email that I'm now told is not his email, which is interesting, and maybe that's true. But then I was given his real email and I contacted him and he hasn't responded to that yet either. So I'm trying my hardest to get through to him.
Well, I hope he's putting a good word for me. I tell him I'm looking for a sponsor.
Okay, I will definitely do that.
um, that's great. And I heard today that there's some game show that's starting up with 5 people. Um, did you help set that up?
No, no,
That
that's not my show. I just learned about it yesterday, so I talked about it yesterday, but it sounds very intriguing to me. What's really crazy is after my video, I asked flat earthers to tell me what they would do if they got $50,000 to prove the earth was flat. And I haven't read all the comments yet. There's hundreds of them, but I've read most of them and I can't find one flat earther that would tell me what he would do or what they would do with $50,000 to prove the earth was flat. What would you do?
I'd simply prove that the Earth was flat by um, getting a little team together of flat earthers and globers, and we'd film the sunset. Yeah, we'd film. Well, maybe we film 10 sunsets. Yes, and you know that sunsets actually prove flat Earth because when you zoom in, you can actually see that the sun comes down to the horizon. Now you've got to take into account that there's a certain speed that it's going at, and it's coming down to the horizon. And when you zoomed in, you can see that it's on the horizon, and then it stops. Now, if we were on a globe, yes, it would just simply continue going down, but it doesn't. It stops above the horizon. There's a mirrored effect of the sun, and then the sun just moves away. Yes. Now you're looking at it from another angle, but it just moves away. It doesn't go down. Yes.
Well, you just said it goes down to the horizon. I wasn't aware that the sun went down in elevation in the flat Earth model.
It does, but that's from a personal atmospheric dome point of view.
Hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
because don't forget it's up there, and it's as David said in Psalms, it's on its circuit. Yeah, so
Hmm.
it's up there on its circuit, making its circles or its ellipsoids or whatever it makes, because it's kind of on a little tilt, I believe, and it's going round. But when we see it from our personal dome, and so we see it going over the top of our dome, a personal atmospheric dome. We see it going over the top of our dome and going down the side of our dome. Now, that's what we see, and then we see it going away. You've never seen this.
I have not. No, I'll
I,
tell you.
I'll, 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 I'll send you a couple of videos and you can have a look at that. But you're asking me what I would do with 50 grand. I'd make a great big presentation on sunsets. I've been fascinated with sunsets for 3 years. Um, Practically every day, I make a little video of the sunset
Hmm.
or sun movements or moon movements. And I've been really looking at the sun movements now. we know as well that the sun does not dictate the shape of the Earth. So, but it's a good indication if we don't see the sun going down past the horizon that it's on a flat plane. But
Yeah.
you've got to see it from the personal atmospheric dome point of view.
What is a personal dome?
It's the way your eyes, yeah, because they're eyeballs, yes, and you have light that goes into the back of your eyes on your retina, and it's upside down in there, and your brain puts it up in the right way so you can see everything properly, yes. Um, but the atmospheric dome is when you look out, you're looking through an atmosphere, and you can only see so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean, they say that the horizon, if you're looking at over the sea, the horizon is about 3 miles away. Yes, and the horizon all around you is like one circle. Yes, if you
Mm-hmm.
stood on the beach looking at the sea and you turn around, then that horizon is a big circle. And on top of that is a dome. Everything you look at then is inside that dome. And in that dome is the atmosphere um, that you see. And it's personal because it's you. Yes. It's you seeing it. It's like when you go to the beach. Yes. If you stand on the beach at sunset, the the shine of the sun will come to your feet. Yes. It's rather like the Son of God comes directly to your feet. Yes. So you have a personal relationship with the Son.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I just thought light, like photons, go in all directions. So no matter where you are, you see some of those photons. I assume they're different photons if you're in a different location, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, that's that. I did a debate on this uh, on Jaren's channel, so you might want to look at that too.
Mhm.
But I'll send you a couple of videos, and you can have a look, and you can have a look for that for yourself. And you asked me what would be the experiment I would do. That's the one I do. I think that proves that we live on a flat
Hmm.
topographical plane, and globers would argue, oh no, it doesn't, which is quite normal if you're adamant that the world is a globe. You will never ever admit that we're on a flat tropical plane. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about your experiment, which I like. Have you ever seen a picture where it appears
Yeah.
that half of the sun is behind the horizon out over the ocean as it's setting, and you can see the upper half of the sun and not the lower half?
Yeah, yeah, I was presented with that um, on the debate I was at, and I had, I mean, I thought, well, this guy doesn't know what's happening. Yeah,
Mm.
that's all because you've got the land that ramps up and the sun that ramps down, and they're meeting, and so this ball um, is shining out its light. And so so as it goes down, you only see half the ball, but the whole ball is above the horizon. Yeah, because you it doesn't actually go below it, and then you can see it, and you can see it slowly disappear into the atmospheric dome. Now,
Yeah, sorry, I was talking about over the ocean, not over land.
yeah, so am I. So am I.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, look, we'll get cut off in a few minutes, but I'll send you another link and we'll continue with this. Okay. So
Okay.
don't worry if we get cut off. Yeah, I think it gives us another 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my experiment. It's what when you're seeing half of that light, that's because the other light is the land ramping up. So you never actually see the full light. If you look at the videos I show you, it'll be easier to understand.
Okay,
Yeah,
but you're talking about land in the ocean?
yeah. I'm talking about the ocean,
Okay.
ocean.
So no land.
There are videos of that over land. I I think David Weiss has quite a few. Yes, that. But there's a guy in Israel, and he makes these videos. He's not flat. He doesn't say he's a flat earther or anything. He just produces these wonderful shots of the sun, and he zooms in just at that point where the sun comes down, yeah, to meet the horizon, and then fades away and disappears, and you can see it slowly disappearing as it moves away into the atmospheric deck of opacity. Now, the
Hmm.
atmospheric deck of opacity is all of the air that's crunched together, yes, squashed together. So it's like impenetrable wall that you can't get through. I mean, um, if you're in a pool or if you're in the sea, let's say, and you're underwater, and somebody has a light and it's dark, yes, and they have a light and they move away from you, then sooner or later you're not going to be able to see that light because
Hmm.
the the the, the density of the water is going to stop and block all the light.
Hmm.
That is like um, that is like what the atmosphere is, because the atmosphere is simply it's loaded with water droplets which magnify things. Yes, but most of the atmosphere is water. We're actually swimming in water. Yes, but they're very tiny particles. Yes,
Hmm.
there's water vapor in as we breathe. We're breathing in water vapor. Yes, and that's always in the atmosphere. So that's my proof for
So with your experiment then, because I remember when I was a kid, my parents took me to Hawaii. They took me to the island of Kauai,
yeah,
and every night they'd say, "Hey, we got to go. We got to watch the sunset from the Princeville Hotel." So we'd
yeah,
go to the Princeville Hotel, we watch the sunset, and I just remember seeing the top half of the sun above the water, and I couldn't see the bottom half of the sun. So it sounds like your experiment would be to zoom in on that, and if
yeah.
we zoomed in, you'd see the whole sun.
You'd 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 see the sun um, because what you're seeing in that half sun is you're seeing the light of the sun. Yes, but what you would see, and you'll see it in the video I send you, is you'll see the sun um, disappears above the horizon, and you can see where it disappears, how it
Hmm.
disappears.
It would be good
But
for your experiment to actually get a group of people with flat earthers and globe earthers together, go to a
that's what I
beach
said. That's what I
and
said.
do it together.
Yeah, that's what I said to the guy I debated. You know, we have to get together on this, and uh, yeah, because he won't have it. Yeah, he won't because the atmospheric, the personal atmospheric dome, the whole idea and concept was put forward by a glober, Walter Bismarck or something. Yes, I've forgotten his name,
Island.
and he put this whole concept together. And the concept he put together of the atmospheric dome, it works equally on a globe as it does on the flat Earth. So the whole idea came from a glober, and we just took that and we said, "Well, thank you." Yeah, that explains a lot for us.
Hmm.
So so that would be my experiment. Yeah,
I like it. So
How about you? Would you have an experiment to prove the dough?
Yeah, it's called the final experiment.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be a
That's
little
with
bit
the
more
sun,
than
isn't it?
$50,000, but
Huh?
it'll be a little bit more than $50,000. But yes, that's why I've been asking people what they would do if they were given money, because I
Yeah.
had money. So having money and being like, okay, what can I do with the money that I have to do an experiment took me a lot of time to figure out what would be the best. So that's why I'm curious not only what people would do if they were given $50,000, but what these 5 flat earth families are going to do with that money. It's interesting to me. I want to know how people think and what ideas they come up with, because I personally think that maybe the experiment I've come up with might be the best one.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I think it might actually be proof of the globe. Yes. Jaren and Austin might come back from that and say, yeah, we've got it. The 24-hour sun, and it works equally on the flat Earth. But now we have extra information. We've collected extra information, which helps substantiate the claim of flat Earth and the globe crumbles. Now that would be an interesting development if that did, and of course there would be a lot of people that wouldn't agree with that. So
Yeah, it comes across as flat Earth has an unfalsifiable model, because I can't find a single globe earther that is stating, if we go to Antarctica and there's not a 24-hour sun, here's how we're going to make it fit the globe model. They're saying, we'll admit we're wrong. We'll stop fighting against flat Earth. We'll become flat earthers. We'll delete all the videos on our channel. The reactions on both sides are really diametrically opposite of each other.
yeah, well, Lindsay's model has always been saying that there are two suns.
Okay, so there's two
There's
suns.
a
Okay,
sun,
so then,
there's a sun in the south and a sun in the north. Yes, he's always
yeah.
been saying that.
Okay,
So
so we should be able to test that, right? By just looking at the sun with a camera with a solar filter and having 2 people doing that at the same time and seeing different sunspots, but that's never been done. So I
yeah,
think his idea
well,
that there's 2 suns
it
is
would be
not.
the same. It would be the same because the second sun is a mirror of the first sun.
Well,
It's it would be a parabolic concave um, inverted image.
then it would be different, because it would be a mirror image of
Yeah, it
each
would
other.
be
It would be
different.
like
Yeah,
this.
different.
So yeah, we could tell that pretty easily.
Yeah. So exciting times ahead.
Agreed.
Times ahead. Yes. Now
Yeah.
I've been asked by Team Witsit, if you like. They've asked me to pose a few questions. Yes, and if you're willing to answer a few questions,
I am, but who's asking you to ask me?
the team. Let's put it like that.
Interesting.
The team.
By the way, your Zoom is about to run out of time in less than a minute.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll send you that other link,
Okay, sounds good.
and we can continue this in part two.
Sounds good. I'll stand by. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.